how important is the material definition in your FEA simulation models? Here we have the same chassis, the same load condition, the same constraints, and practically the same stress value. But one model gives around 47.5 mm of displacement and the other gives only 15.4 mm. That's more than 3 times of displacement. So what changed? Just one input in the model. And at the end of this video, you will see why two simulations can show similar stress values but completely different structural behavior. Let's go for it! Hi, Carlos here, and for those of you who don't know me yet, I've been more than 12 years validating real FEA projects across different industries. That's why I created my validation method to teach FEA the way industry actually demands. And today we are going to continue reviewing concepts of that methodology.
Okay, what do we have here? This is a model of a truck chassis. Here we have our simulation already defined. We can see under the connections, if I drop down local interaction, we can see all the interactions already defined. Then, if I move to fixtures, here we have the constraints defined in the rear suspension brackets, here and here, and also in the front suspension brackets. And the load is applied in the center of the front left wheel. In this case, we don't have connections such as bolt or welds. We are going to simulate a torsional stiffness scenario, which is very commonly used to calibrate the stiffness of a truck chassis. Basically, we have the restriction in the suspension brackets, just leaving free one of the wheels where we apply the load, simulating an extreme event when the vehicle suffers a pothole. If I go to the mesh section, I show it. So the mesh is already prepared by bended curvature based mesh. So as you can see, the model is ready to run. The only thing that I miss is the material of the parts, which is what we are going to review here. Okay, what we understand by defining the material properties. First of all, we need to understand what the software is interpreting by assigning one material or the other. Let's review it in the corresponding section. If I go to the head of the simulation, the first section is the section to define the parts. If I drop down, here we can see all the parts involved in this model. Seeing the symbol behind each part, it's telling us that we are working with solid elements. In future videos, we'll review how to define shell and beam elements. Very useful elements in this field also. For now, in order to speed up the process, I go directly to the part head, right click and select Apply Material to All. Okay, here we are. In this case, we are using Solidworks Simulation. This software shows by default a huge range of materials in its library. So, most of the times we don't need to define them. In this folder, we can see that we are under steel. We can see, for the steel already defined by default by the software, the mechanical properties, and we can see some parameters like the yield strength, the tensile strength, and if we go to the first one, we can see the yaw modulus. These parameters is directly related to the stiffness of our material. So, thinking about the stiffness, let's have a look at the stress-strain graph for a standard steel to understand what we are doing. Here we have it, the famous stress-strain curve. As we know from university, this graph is our compass to define the mechanical properties of a material, right? we can see the three main regions or zones: the elastic zone, the plastic zone, and the necking zone. Let me know in the comments if you would like me to prepare a video for a complete explanation of this graph and the main zones. Okay, let's continue. If we zoom in into the elastic zone of the material, we can obtain the yaw modulus, which is defined by the slope of the stress-strain curve in this elastic zone. Good, so if we have the values of stress and strain, by these equations, we can obtain the yaw modulus expression by solving the slope of the curve, as you can see here. Okay, if we remember the stiffness definition, we had that the stiffness K of a material is the ratio between the force applied and the deformation obtained by that force. So, with a big stiffness, we will have less deformation under the same force. And which parameter indicates the stiffness of a material? I guess you know, exactly, the yaw modulus. So, if our yaw modulus is higher, our part will be stiffer and the deformation will be lower. Simple, right? Okay, let's come back to the simulation. Here we were checking this steel with a yaw modulus of 210,000 megapascals. Okay, now I'm moving to the aluminium folder, collapse steel and drop down aluminium. And I'm going to select, for example, this one, 6061T6, which has a yield value of 275 megapascals and a yaw modulus of 69,000 megapascals. We can see that for aluminium we have almost 3 times lower value of yaw modulus than the steel material. Okay, let's run a simulation with this aluminium. I apply and close. And let's run this study. Okay, here we have the results. Let's have a look at the deformation. The behavior seems quite correct, so let's see where is the maximum value. If I go to a stress plot and select chart options, I can activate the max annotation. Let's accept. And here we have it, 264 megapascals, just close to the suspension bracket due to the load that we are applying. Okay, and this value is under the yield strength. Good. Let's check the displacements. If I go to the displacements, right click and select show, here we can see the max value in the legend is showing us 47.4 millimeters. And looking at the plot, we can see that the red color is located in the front zone. Okay, this is what we obtain by using aluminium, the stress value and the displacement value. Let's see what happens using steel material. If I go to the bottom and I'm going to rename this simulation, I add aluminium, and now I'm going to copy this study and I'm going to give it the name of steel. I press OK to create the new study, and here directly, as everything is already defined, I go directly to the head of the materials, right click and select apply material to all bodies. Here I'm coming back to the steel folder and select the alloy steel that we were checking before, with a yaw modulus of 210,000 megapascals. I apply and close. And now let's run this study. Okay, here we have our results. As we previously defined the plot configuration with the max value annotation is showing up, this is something very useful and I explain it in a very detailed process in my specialized courses. You will find the links in the description to achieve your maximum level at the best price. Okay, let's have a look at the displacements. I go to the displacement plot and select show. And here we are obtaining a maximum value of 15.37 millimeters. If I remember well, this value was much higher in the ALU simulation, right? Okay, let's compare the results. I go to results, right click and select compare results. And here I'm going to select the stress and the displacement of both studies and press OK to see the comparison. Okay, here we have it. What we can see? Well, as we saw in the stiffness and yaw modulus definition, under the same load, the chassis is suffering the same amount of stress, approximately. We cannot see exactly the same values, but they are very similar, less than 10 megapascals, 264 for aluminium and 273 for steel. However, looking at the displacements results, we can see that the ALU simulation is showing almost 3 times higher displacement values than the steel results. We have 47.4 versus 15.4 millimeters. If you remember the yaw modulus values, the aluminium was 3 times lower than the steel. So, as you can see, it's directly related to the displacements obtained. Interesting, right? Higher yaw modulus means higher material stiffness and lower displacements obtained. This is a very basic exercise, but it's super important to consider it when assigning the materials of your extractors. Let me know in the comments what you think and let's continue growing together. See you in next video.